can see it if you're watching on TV right now. Pickett was 10 of 13, 120 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, which was somehow better than Trubisky. His total QBR was 28, which makes him half of a starting quarterback, but Trubisky's was 8, right? So there's your Pickett-Trubisky comparison. Can I pick it? Yes, I can. I mean, like, they picked him 3 times.
So here's what I loved yesterday about Kenny Pickett. You know, there's certain players, Max, like facial expressions. I know it's something small. But, like, whenever I watched Mitchell Trubisky lead, like, it seemed like there was uncertainty for some reason whenever I saw his face. Like, and there's something to be said about that. When I watched Kenny Pickett, he was talking trash to people on the field. I'm like, damn, I like this rookie style. He's out here 2 rushing TDs, very similar to Jalen Hurts, right, where he took the punishment. Like, it wasn't like I'm going to slide and get out of your way. He burrowed through it. Right? And I think that kind of energy reminds me so much more of Pittsburgh Steeler football than what Mitchell Trubisky brought to the table.
See, what you're talking about now, and what Jay is bringing up is what you mentioned about Hurts earlier. Some guys, and a lot of times this happens with the backup, especially if you drafted him and they don't really believe in the vet anymore, they juice the team. Like, that's the reason even I'm like, if Cooper Rush keeps winning, leave it alone. It's hard to say in football. It's almost like a magic formula. What gets all those guys on the same page winning, right? So even if it's not causation, if it's just correlation, in other words, it's not causing it, it's just part of the formula, or we just see that when he plays, they win. Man, I'm not touching it, Key. Like, Jalen Hurts, the team responded immediately. Look at the difference between him and Wentz, right? And Pickett, if the team feels different, Key, I'm leaving that alone. I'm leaving it alone if the
you can't go back. You can't go back to Mr. Trubisky at this point anyway. It's a wrap. The Kenny Pickett era has started in Philadelphia or in Pittsburgh. There's nothing. He's a backup. That's what he is now. You're the backup. If anything happens to our young fella, you can come back in and be the starting quarterback. But until then, take scout team reps and don't say anything that you're not supposed to say. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about.
Mike
we
Tomlin
gave you your opportunity in 4 games, and the results were not glaring at all, so we're going in another direction.
Yeah, I'm sure part of the reason the hesitancy with Pickett is what you don't want to happen is you start the young guy, then he falters because he's young, right? Because the offensive line isn't great. Now you got to wait, do I take him out? And now you're yo-yoing him back and forth. Right, you don't want to.
No, it's over. It's over.
Here's Mike Tomlin at the post-game presser on making the decision.
Just thought we needed a spark, man. We didn't do much in the first half. Not enough offensively, and, thought he could provide a spark for us.
Do you expect that decision to stick into next week?
I'm not going to talk extended as we sit here. We did what we needed to do to put ourselves in position to win this game, and we'll do it again. But I like to just keep it where we are in terms of what transpired here today. We'll deal with next week.
CK, I don't know if it's full-blown Kenny Pickett all the time now. I don't. I think Tomlin's the kind of guy that wants to see, how he responds, maybe see how Mitchell Trubisky responds. I just look at their next 4 games. They play the Bills, at Bills, they play the Bucks, they play at Dolphins, and then they play at the Eagles. I mean, we'll see how Kenny Pickett does, but I think he's going to fluctuate a little bit back and forth to kind of see who gives him what and when they give it to him. Even though I would rather err on the side of Kenny Pickett and stay with it, I just have a feeling Mike Tomlin's going to do something like that.
Yeah, no, Kenny Pickett will be the starter, Jay. They're not going to – they drafted him to be the starter. They gave Mr. Trubisky an opportunity to hold him off, and clearly neither one played great. I mean, there's no question about it. Neither one played great, but you might as well go with the young guy that the team could continue to get used to and build around, because your long-term plan is Kenny Pickett. Your long-term plan is not Mitch Trubisky. That was very evident when they drafted him, that his days was numbered. They don't draft guys and then yo-yo them up and down. They either start them immediately and let them take their lumps in Trevor Lawrence-like, or they give them an opportunity like a Kurt Warner to be a bridge guy for an Eli Manning. Then at the time you go and you say, you know what, we're not going in, just play this guy. And that's where they're at now. It's like, just play this guy. Because what you can't do is you can't play Mitch Trubisky, pull him again, Kenny Pickett, Now you play him. Now you make another decision the following week that you go play Mitch Trubisky. Then Kenny Pickett. You can't do that to young guys. You got to make a decision, a sound decision. And Coach Tomlin, I'm sure, will make that sound decision that Kenny Pickett is the guy going forward. He's not going to say it right after the game because emotions are riding high. He's answering questions. He's going to let it calm down a little bit and then go back, talk to his offensive staff today, tomorrow, and then make the decision on Wednesday or Thursday to announce that Kenny Pickett will be the starting quarterback.
That's how it would seem. However, Key, I think about Tomlin. And here's the question, all right? And this is why I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. You know, Tomlin's never had a losing season. Neither did Russell Wilson until his last year in Seattle, right? Never lost. He had one season of 9 wins, otherwise over always double-digit wins. Everything's the same until one day it's different. The Steelers just lost to the Jets. You got to find wins in the schedule to forget about the playoffs for a second, just at least finish 500, right? So do you think, Key, that Mike Tomlin right now can at least finish 500, maybe challenge for the playoffs with Kenny Pickett?
There won't be any. I don't think it'll be any challenges for the playoffs.
I don't think so either for the playoffs. But what about finishing without a losing record? Is this the year they finally has a losing record?
They could probably get the 9 games.
Losing to the Jets?
I mean, I said probably. I mean, I'm trying to.
Man, when I count
probably, those, I don't have their schedule in front of me, so I don't know what cupcakes they have left.
Okay, Key here. Let's go through it. At
It's
Bills,
the
not a
NFL.
cupcake. Bucks, not a cupcake. At Dolphins, not a cupcake. At Eagles, not a cupcake. At home against the Saints, that defense, not a cupcake. Bengals, that'd be an interesting one considering where the Bengals will be at. At Colts, okay, cupcake to a degree.
I think, but the way the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing, the Colts,
at Colts, that'd be
Saints.
Falcons are playing
Those
better.
are
at
tough
Falcons
games.
versus Ravens. At Panthers, they've been horrible. Raiders, at Ravens, Browns. Deshaun Watson will be back by then.
They might be able to.
I think
they're
you
not
had
a
to
good,
beat the Jets
look,
if you
man,
wanted to
they're
finish
not a
500.
good football team. I mean, when you start talking about the receivers, for instance, right? Where's Deontay Johnson? Deontay, where is he? Where's Clay Claypool? Like, he wanted to listen to rap music and switch up the music in the locker room a year or two ago. Where is he at? Like, I don't, the offensive line isn't blocking nearly as well as they should for Najee Harris. I understand TJ Watt isn't in the lineup, but the defense, you surrendered 24 points to a young quarterback in Zach Wilson who played his first game of the season.
And they were down double digits. They came back.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say right now, but I know they won't make the playoffs. And when you look at their schedule is not as light as it would appear to be. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, when you're no good, the schedule looks a lot tougher. Keyshawn J. Willimax is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Bundle today at progressive.com. So here's the next question. I think it's a more interesting one.
One touchdown on the ground doesn't mean that he had eye-popping numbers, but it's something about guys like this, the team rally around and they just get it done. He's continuing to knock the doubters down, make them think twice about those draft picks. In fact, Patrick Costello, one of our producers, I think he wants to trade all those draft picks and try to build the team a different way now. Number 2 is Carson Wentz in the Washington, I'm almost calling them the football team. It's the Commanders. What a horrible name, by the way. The Washington Commanders and Carson Wentz. It's about time.
Old name, Key. Yeah.
It's about time for them to look to do something else. Dude threw 42 balls, man. He had 42 attempts. $170. 42 attempts with $170 and 2 INTs? Oh, gosh. Come on, Carson Wentz. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, Number 3. Carson Wentz had been good for a long time.
Number 3 is the Indianapolis Colts. What's wrong with the Indianapolis Colts? My former teammate in Frank Reich, he just can't seem to get it right. No pun intended. Different spellings and different, but it
and
sounds
pronunciations,
the same.
but they're close enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say, but it sounds the same. I think when you look at the Colts, though, this is the 3rd straight had a pretty good game with all things considered, and it looks like the Colts are probably going to give way to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans in this division.
Number 4.
Number 4, Bill Belichick. Despite having to use 3 different quarterbacks this year, and I can't even think of Zupa, whatever his name is,
Zappe. Bailey Zappe.
Zappe. No, I know, Bailey Zappe. He still had the Green Bay Packers spooked. After all that, Brian Hoyer goes out the game due to injury. He finds the 3rd quarterback on the roster, taking Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers to overtime and down into the wire. Made no sense to me, but Max,
Yeah.
looks like a GOAT coach to me. Anytime you can do that,
I think
looks
he's
like
among
a
the
GOAT
GOATs.
coach to me.
Yeah, he might be. He might be the greatest coach of all. He just might be, but he used to be definite.
Number 5.
And number 5, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett did some wonders, right? Yesterday, coming in, giving him a little spark. He had 3 interceptions. Okay, 2 of them probably wasn't his fault. But in the end, he gave the team a little bit of life. And right before the half, I told some buddies I was watching the game with, I said at halftime, they go in there and gonna say, "Get ready, young fella." I could see it on the cheeks of Mike Tomlin. You could just see him squeezing those cheeks really hard and those teeth grinding them. And I said, he's gonna change. He's gonna make a switch. And number 8 came out, gave him a little bit of spark. Now he'll get better as time goes on. This may be the first year that Mike Tomlin is 8-9.